Hi, my name's Mayson.
My name is Kayla.
And my name's Kelly.
And we will be talking about pregnancy tests. In the early 1900s, women were instructed to inject their urine into female mice or frogs in order to find out if they were pregnant. In even earlier times, the tests were even stranger. Medieval women relied on a piss prophet to predict if they were expecting, and ancient Egyptians urinated in bags of barley and wheat. Surprisingly, the ancient Egyptians' test had a 70 to 85 accuracy due to the estrogen in the urine stimulating seed growth. While today, our methods may not be as interesting, they hold a 99% accuracy rate. The method we use today is somewhat similar to the ancient Egyptians, based on the fact that we use hormones to predict it. Modern pregnancy tests, to put it plainly, sticks women pee on. Now let's get into the chemistry of it.
Pregnancy tests rely on a color change produced by a chemical reaction, similar to litmus paper. In the litmus paper, when it comes in contact with an acid or base, it changes color. This is how a pregnancy test works as well, but instead of an acid or base, the color change comes from the detection of a hormone called chorionic gonadotropin, or more simply, HCG. This hormone is produced when an embryo attaches itself to the uterus, typically 6 to 12 days after conception. Because the concentration of HCG increases with time after conception, the best time to take the pregnancy test is a week after a missing period. So let's talk about the stick. The first step in taking the test is to pee on the instructed area. Capillary action will help the pee move along the test strip. The first stop for the pee after the sample pad is a strip with mobile antibodies. Here, if there is HCG in the urine, the antibodies will bind them. The more HCG is present, the more bonded pairs will form, which will ultimately cause our pregnancy line to appear darker. This is the chemical reaction, a clear line turning a different color when HCG binds with mobile antibodies.
However, if this line doesn't appear, how are we supposed to know if the test is reliable or working in the first place? That's what the next stop is for. The next line on the pregnancy test to appear is the control line, and while it works in a similar way, it is not designed to detect HCG, but rather the mobile antibodies from before. While the first line, or after the first line, the bonded or alone pairs move on to meet these immobile antibodies. And while the first line will only appear if you're pregnant, the second line should always appear if the test is in working condition. The immobile antibodies catch mobile antibodies to produce another chemical reaction of a color change. Digital pregnancy tests work in a similar way, but instead of showing lines that have a color change, they now have a sensor to show pregnant or not pregnant on their screens. Blood tests are also used to identify HCG and often reliable for very early stages because they can detect an even lower level of the HCG hormone than found in urine. Overall, we've come a very long way from injecting frogs with our urine to now being able to read the word pregnant off of a stick. And with the help of chemical reactions and binding antibodies, we can predict with an astounding 99% accuracy if a female is expecting. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk. We hope you learned a little more about the chemistry behind pregnancy tests.